Hi, I'm Nick and this is the TBT channel. In today's video, we're going to be playing dress up with my HW97. This is my HW97k. Well, actually it's an Ultra K because I've shortened the overall length of it. I've removed about that much, what's that, 2-3 inches off the overall length of this gun by boring out the false moderator on the front here, boring it out to the diameter of the barrel, and then set the whole thing so the barrel actually ends at the end of the dummy moderator. And then I simply reduced the length of the cocking arm from this end, reattached it and put it back on. I say simply, and this and only, it was easy. Honestly, it was. If you have a lathe, it is not a difficult job to do. But the reason I did it with this gun is that the gun itself was a canal find. Okay, it was bogging, it was rusty, it was manky. I didn't pay very much for it. It was kind of an experimental gun for me to muck around with, and that's why I did this to this end. Obviously, by machining, reducing length, things like that, you're going to be putting machine marks into this end of the gun, into the moderator and things like that. So what I did after all this had been done, I then got all the metal bits, sent them off to be polished and re-blacked, and they look fantastic. They look better than new. The blacking quality on this is fantastic, and I had the compression tube blacked as well. So it's just, this is a very custom gun. This is my gun. This is my pride and joy. This is, you know, I love my I love all my guns, I really do, but this has had so much more put into it than anything else that I have, and I absolutely adore it. I've been using this Hawke Air Max 2-7x32 on this for quite a while, and it is a great scope for air rifle use. There's not an awful lot more you need, but now that I'm doing this channel, these videos, come spring, as soon as my shoulder's well enough after the operation, I'm going to be out and I'm going to be doing some accuracy shooting. I'm going to be taking you out to ranges, things like that. We're going to be doing some shooting for a change instead of just sitting here nattering. So I want a bigger scope on the gun, coupled with the fact I really want this scope for my HW30. Okay, the HW30, wow, what a gun. If you don't have one, why not? So that's coming off of here, and then we need to find another scope to put on top. So the first thing we're going to do is just remove this one. It's just a standard dovetail on these, nothing particularly fancy. They don't need it if you have your gun set up correctly. There's not much recoil, so you don't need much in the way of, you know, excessive clampage, as it were. So that comes off of there. That's going to go to one side, and we'll be putting that onto the HW30 interfrastically in a separate video. So what scope to put on here? Now, I went to the gun shop in a video that you will have seen a few weeks ago, and they had lots and lots and lots of scopes. Now, as I make this film, I brought 3 of those scopes back. By the time you see this film, I may have gone back down there and filled my pockets again. But what I have today, because everything's getting swapped around, okay? There's going to be a few of these videos where I'm going to be dragging something out, and I think I'm going to do my 17mm HMR next, for example, because I want the scope from that to go on to my 243, but what one I'm going to put on that one, yada yada yada. So the scopes I have, first of all, I have an Optima 3-9x45 Moonlighter. I love this scope. It is a very period scope. It is a 1990s scope, but I think I want this particular scope on my Pro Sport. My Pro Sport is a 2.2. It's over there. It's not in great condition. It's of its time. It's a beach stock. It looks a little bit tatty. So does this. I think it'll go together well. I think that will be a good mix of scope and gun, a good combination. of scope and gun. Next I have this. Now this is a Nikon ProStaff 3-9x40 EFR. Now EFR, what does EFR stand for? EFR, extended focus range. Okay, so what that means is this one, the parallax, it will parallax right down to under 10 yards. Most scopes are designed for rimfire, or they are designed for centerfire, which means if they're fixed parallax, they'll be parallaxed at 50 yards, 100 yards or 200 yards depending on the scope. And if you have an adjustable parallax, then the lowest it will parallax down to is usually 50 yards, which is fine if you're using a rimfire. Oh, sorry, if you're using a centerfire. But if you're using even a rimfire, you're going to be taking a lot of bunnies at below 50 yards. You're going to be walking along hedges, so you want it to come down lower. And certainly with an air rifle, there are lots of air rifle specific scopes. Okay, but an EFR is I mean, the quality on these, the glass in these is spectacular, and it's a very lightweight scope, and it's a 3-9. Now I'm going to put that on my HMR. I'm pretty certain that's going that's decision made. I'm looking at this. No, I am going to put that onto my HMR because I've got this. Try not to lift it with me bad arm. I have here a Hawke Eclipse 30mm tube, 4-16 by 50. Okay, now it's a 30mm tube. Everything in here is bigger, everything in here is heavier. This is a heavy scope. You would not want to put this onto a gun you were stalking with, okay, because it's going to weigh a ton. The 97 itself is not a gun you're going to want to be stalking with because it's a heavy gun. Put these two together, you've got a heavy combination. Now I would like to put this on here, but can anybody tell me a potential problem that I've only just seen? And I don't know if it's going to be an issue or not, so I'm going to have to check that. When I mount this, if that comes too far over the loading port, that's going to make it bloody difficult to cock. And this is a big scope. This is the one I want to put on here. Let's see if it's going to work. Let's actually see if it's going to work. Now, anybody want to take a guess what I paid? You don't want to know what I paid for that. Honestly, you don't. You get annoyed. You get angry with me. I don't want you angry with me. Let's all stay friends. It was a bargain. Right. I've got a set of 30mm mounts here. Now these are reach around mounts, reach forward mounts, or that's a reach forward mount, that's a reach back mount, but I'm going to use it on reach forward. What I'm going to do what I am going to do is I'm going to take all of these screws out of these mounts, then I'm going to put the mounts onto the gun, then I'm going to lay the scope across the mounts and see what the eye relief is like. The eye relief is the distance between your eye and the scope. Your eye relief, your scope wants to be set at the distance where you get the correct picture, where you are comfortable holding the gun. You should never be in a position where you are moving your head to see the sight picture. It should be that your scope is the right height and the right distance, that if you were to close your eyes, shoulder the gun and then open your eyes once you're comfortable, you should be looking down your scope. That is what you're after. You're not trying to, you don't go out, buy a massive scope and then, oh, I need some mounts, what mounts do I need? That's the wrong way round. What you want to do is find out where you're comfortable, what height your mounts need to be, and then you find a scope to suit that. So let's see, what have we got? We've got an arrestor pin, but it's not out, but I'm going to put that. I always line up my back mount with, you've got a warning on the back of the Weihrauch here, okay? Warning, do not swallow this gun or something. It says, I can't actually read it. But there's a warning triangle at each end of the word warning. And they act like little pointers. So what I do, top tip, I sit that in between those so I can see at a glance if my scope's moving. Okay, that's a handy little tip there. Never said that out loud before. I just realised I do have, it's not a conscious thing, it's just what I do. But you can have that one for free. So let's put that there. Let's put that as safe. Now they are on. Well, that ain't no good, is it? That's got to come back. We'll bring him back a couple of inches. Just tweak him up. Pop that on there again. Now then. Oh, shouldn't do that, should I? Can you tell what it is yet? Can't do that either. The world's full of pervs. At least they're dead now, that's the main thing. Right, let's see. God, is that harsh, wasn't it? But true. Just gonna pop this on because I don't want to drop the scope. I'm going to be picking the gun up. I'm going to be shouldering it. Just to be safe, I'm just going to chuck a saddle over the top so that it can't physically drop off the gun. There we go. Oh, you heavy bugger. So that's there. That's there. That's about perfect. It's 5mm over. It's 5mm over. And I've got that turned up to maximum as well. So we'll just turn that there. I'll tell you what, if I bring that back to there. It's a big scope for this gun, but the gun's big enough to carry it, I think. I mean, carry it with looks rather than carry it as in physically hold it. Obviously, you can physically hold it. You could put this on an HW30 front. You could put one of these on an HW50/99. It looks silly, but you could do it. Right, that is actually bloody good. Happy with that. Yeah, any closer it got, I've just got a little squiggly circle in the middle. Any further back, it's out of focus. So get comfortable in the position. Yeah, that is absolutely lovely. So now, what I'm going to do is get the crosshairs level with the bore of the gun. This is very important. A lot of people, when I look through somebody else's gun through their scope, you might get this as well when if you go down the club. You'll notice that the crosshairs aren't level with the gun. And a lot of people do this because they think that they should have the crosshairs level to where they hold the gun. So they're holding the gun on the wonk, but because that's how they hold it, they then line up the crosshairs so that they're level to their wonk. That isn't going to work, because if your scope's wonky, the centre of your scope is going to be directly above the bore of the barrel, as it should be. But the bottom stick of the, if say it's canted over that way, okay, so it's like that. I'm doing 45 degrees to illustrate a point. So here, the centre, yeah, that's directly above the bore, but down here you're to the left of the bore, and over here you're to the right of the bore. So the pellet's actually going to go across the bore, the line of your scope, which means it will only be accurate. That word, it will only be accurate to the scope at the given 0. So it is vitally important that you make sure that your reticule is level to your gun and the bore on your gun, not to your wonky shooting style. If you have a wonky shooting style, you need to get your gun straight, the reticule straight, and then you need to adjust your shooting until you're shooting straight. Okay, because the gun is right, you are wrong in that particular case. So these are all down. Let's have a little look and see what you would have won. I'm just going to loosen those off a fraction, just so that I've got enough to move it. There we go. So what I'm going to do is lay that on there, and I've got the dovetails okay on the back of here. The way I do this, when I'm inside, I'll fine tune it when I get it outside into the open air and have a horizon to look at. But at the moment, I'm going to, from back here, you can see the reticule and you can see the dovetail underneath it. So you just line that up. So the dovetail, also the bottom leg of your reticule is pointing directly down in between your dovetails, which that is there. That is level, and that feels level. The gun feels level, and the reticule's level. So I think that is good. That is good, yeah. So we then tighten down our screws on the top here, and what we do with these, we're not over tightening anything. It's just down and tweak, and you go round clockwise. Okay, you can go anti-clockwise if you're awkward, but just round clockwise. It's just with the short edge of the Allen key. You don't need to over tighten any of these things. That's how damage occurs. You get in equal pressure across the saddle, so that means it's going to hold it without having to put so much force on there. You're going to deform the tube, and I've seen plenty of deformed tubes in my time, let me tell you. There we go. They are all done up. Now all that remains is the 4 on the actual mounts holding it onto the dovetail here. Just that one, and then back to the first one again. Get in there, back to the first one, second one, and we're just giving it a little press down. We're not trying to damage anything. We don't need to damage anything. This has got a TBT kit in it, so it's not kicking like a donkey anyway. There and there, and that's it. This is my HW97k Ultra Carbine, now sporting a more serious piece of glass on top. And once the weather's good enough, I've had my surgery and my shoulder's good enough, we're going to get it outside and we're going to do some serious accuracy work with this. It does leave me with this scope that I want to fit onto my HW30, this scope which I want to fit onto my Pro Sport, and that scope which I think I want to put onto my 17 HMR, then the one from the 17 onto the 243. So we will get around to doing that, because let's face it, we all like playing dress up with our guns, or at least the people I know do. It's like, oh yeah, it does look good on that gun, but would it look better on a different one? Like, subscribe, hit notifications. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.